Hi Peter, thanks for your time today. The bank has announced its first half results and it shows an upturn in earnings over the period. Can you talk us through the key drivers?
Hi James, and yes, it is our first half results for 2022, and we reported a 71% increase in cash earnings this half when we compare it to last half, so that was a good result. One of the reasons for that was we had less notable items, and when we stripped that out, cash earnings was pretty unchanged. But I was very happy with our underlying result. Revenue was down a little bit, but costs were down significantly, 10% from our cost reset initiatives. And we saw a little bit of a change in impairments, and that saw the overall result unchanged when you take out notable items.
Peter, are you happy with the progress you've made on the Fix, Simplify and Perform agenda? And are we approaching the point where we can say that the Fix part of that is almost complete?
Yeah, well, I am happy in our progress, and that's about turning around the bank. So under Fix, the Customer Outcomes and Risk Excellence program is about fixing our risk management, and we're 12 months into that program and it's on track. Under Simplify, we need to simplify our business portfolio, and we've sold 2 more businesses this time. And under Perform, I think we had a good result this time. Improved performance in business lending in both WIB and Business Bank. Good progress in owner-occupied, a bit of work to do in Investor. But overall, I'm happy with our progress under Fix, Simplify and Perform.
Let me turn to mortgages, and obviously there's fierce competition in that space. I wonder if you could talk me through your priorities for the bank in that part of the business.
Yeah, well, mortgages is an important part of this bank given the size, and we grew again this time, mostly off the back of good growth in owner-occupied, and we've got a little bit of work to do in Investor, particularly through the business sector, which will be a priority. Also digitising the mortgage process. We know that competition is increasing, we know everyone's using digital, and we're planning to do that as well.
You mentioned the progress you've made on the digital transformation. Can you talk us through some of the things you've delivered in that space?
Yeah, under digital, so the first thing is we completed the rollout of the Westpac app. So we did iOS last year and we've done Android this year. So all our Westpac customers are now on the new app, and there's plenty of features on it, including a lot of new security features. One is the dynamic CVV. So that little 3-digit code on your card changes is much more secure for online shopping. So that's a big delivery for us. In Business Bank, we've launched new merchant terminals. We've also got new faster digital application processes, so that's good. And then mortgages, we improved our time to write, and we've got more work to do, particularly in for our third-party channels to improve or adopt what we've already provided the first-party channels, which will improve service as well.
Now, one of the features of the result was the improved performance of the institutional bank. Can you maybe talk us through what's behind that turnaround?
Well, the institutional bank has reset what we're about over the last 18 months, and so that's behind us. We've really got a clear business model now. We've got a new team, and we've seen improvements in both lending, so we had good growth in Australian lending, and we also had a better markets performance. So lower costs, better revenues, and we had a really good outcome that I'm pleased with in WIB.
Let me turn to the broader economy now, and a lot of talk in the past week about rising interest rates with obviously the RBA rate hike. How concerned are you about potential mortgage stress for Westpac customers given the tightening environment that we've now entered?
Well, yes, we are moving into a different cycle in interest rates, but they've been very low, historically low. And when we assess mortgages, we've been including a buffer. So it was 2.5%, we increased it to 3% recently. So when we think about lending for a mortgage, we actually assume the interest rate's going to be higher. So we think most customers are well positioned. Unemployment's very important, it's at record lows. And so both of those things we think set the book up well. Now, not everyone feels it that way, so there will be a little bit of increased stress, but we'll be ready for that if it happens.
And on a similar theme, can I get your thoughts on the economic outlook for the remainder of the year? I mean, clearly we're operating in a difficult environment. We've had the devastating floods, war in Ukraine, and that's not to mention ongoing problems with COVID, rising inflationary pressure partly as a result of that. Are you confident that the economy can show resilience in this difficult period?
Well, I think the outlook for 2022 is pretty positive, actually. You've got low unemployment, we've got increased activities because hopefully we're we're through the worst of the COVID period and it's being managed in a more targeted way now. So that's positive. But as you point out, there's still supply chain issues. So that's a bit of a negative. But when I look at it, there's plenty of demand. People want more employees. So I think 2022 looks pretty good.
And in terms of the bank itself, the capital position looks pretty robust. Are you happy with the position going into this sort of period ahead?
Yeah, well, capital's never been stronger, in a sense. So we're 11.5% on a pro forma basis after asset sales, and that's where we want to be at this point. So capital's good, and we also added to our economic overlays, just given a bit of uncertainty on supply chains and floods, as you said before. So we've remained appropriate provision for credit losses.